Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Hope everybody's having a great start to their Tuesday and a great start to their week out there. We have a lot to unravel in today's video, including a major winter storm, including freezing rain, sleet, and snow to the north on the cold side, and then we have flash flooding rains possible on the warm side. And get out those record books because February is looking like a wild ride, and we'll get into those details later on in today's video. What you're looking at right now is your current weather alerts across the United States in gray. Those are your dense fog advisories. They are extending all the way up into Montana, South Dakota there and through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And some of those actually linger over here into Arkansas. Widespread visibility restrictions across these areas. Notice this morning our visibilities are around a half a mile or less across these regions. So definitely take it slow out on those roadways this morning. And as we go into the afternoon, we'll still have some patchy fog to deal with, but the most dense fog will start to burn off as we go deeper through the day on your Tuesday. And then as we go into tonight, that fog will start to become more widespread again, as especially over that snowpack across the Midwest. And that is definitely going to make for a lot of treacherous travel across this region, not only with the ice potential, but also with the fog as we go later on through tonight. If you are new to the channel though, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for detailed weather breakdowns along the way as we go through 2024 and beyond. And I will keep you covered with accurate weather forecasts right here on this channel. Also, make sure to press the like button down below. It helps out way more than you think. So let's look here again at our current weather alerts for the winter side of this system. In purple, we have winter weather advisories from the Midwest into the southern lakes, the Ohio Valley, and parts of New England here through this morning. And looking at our current weather conditions across the country, we have all rain. Further to the south here, we have all rain with their warmer temperatures. That freezing line is moving up into the Midwest and the southern Great Lakes here at this current time. So that's where the mix of precipitation is, whether that's sleet, freezing rain, or snow, or just all rain at times. We see that up here across portions of Iowa, getting into northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, portions of Michigan, and that extends further east there into New York State and northern Pennsylvania this morning. As we go through the day, we're going to have a very narrow band of some wet snow up here across portions of the Great Lakes region and over here into New England, but right in between that snow and rain line, there's just a narrow area there as well of sleet and freezing rain that we'll have to contend with as we go through today, and that will be accumulating ice across that region. Then finally, as we go into tonight, we'll start to see that taper off and move further to the east. Could be dealing with some snow showers and wet snow across portions of New England tonight, but then another surge of moisture will lead to more flooding rain potential for the deep south and the mid Mississippi Valley as we go through tonight. And let's look at the winter precipitation types and what they mean. So obviously, as you know, with all snow, the layers of the atmosphere is cold from the top all the way down to the bottom. And that's how snowflakes never melt. Sleet is different. We start to see those droplets freeze and form ice before reaching the surface. You have the cold air near the surface, but just a very shallow warm layer aloft, and that begins to melt those snowflakes in towards droplets, but they refreeze before hitting the surface. And then freezing rain, we have it falls as all rain because the surface is very cold and it freezes on contact, but just a few thousand feet up, we have that warm layer aloft, and that melts those snowflakes into rain droplets, and it looks like rain, but as it reaches the surface, it is too cold and freezes on contact. And then obviously rain, it never freezes. The top down all the way down to the surface is very warm and it never freezes. So that's obviously your precipitation types. So looking at your additional snowfall accumulation through your Wednesday time frame, this is through tomorrow, that narrow band of heavy wet snow could be seeing 1 to 3 inches with an isolated 4-inch total here or there across portions of the Great Lakes and into New England here through your Wednesday. Looking at that second precipitation type, your sleet accumulation here, that's where we could start to see more of that piling up to around a quarter to a half an inch across portions of Iowa, northern Illinois, getting into southern Wisconsin. That will shift east through portions of southern lower Michigan, through portions there of the Toronto region in southern Ontario, and then that could move over into portions of northern Pennsylvania and New York State into the New England region through Wednesday. And then finally, your third precipitation type, your freezing rain, some of those ice accumulations could still be adding up to around a tenth to 2/10 of an inch through your Wednesday morning commute across portions of the Midwest here and into the Great Lakes vicinity. So a lot of different precipitation types to look for here. And looking at the fourth precipitation type, the rainfall, further to the south on Wednesday, this is going to be all rain and very heavy rain across portions of the lower and middle Mississippi Valley. And this will be a problem because it will be training over the same area over and over again, not only from Wednesday into Thursday, but also Thursday and even into your Friday time frame. So multiple days in a row of training showers and thunderstorms will saturate our soils down here and cause some flash flooding. Now, it is good news that we are seeing the rainfall where we are seeing it because of our significant drought down here. The U.S. Drought Monitor here from this last Thursday is showing severe, extreme, and exceptional drought. So we need some work done on the drought to improve it with this rainfall. But the problem is this rainfall is actually going to be coming in a very short amount of time. This is between now, currently, and your Friday time frame on the 26th of January. Look at that swath of about 4 to 7 inches worth of rain across portions of the lower middle Mississippi Valley, and then a few inches of rain up into the lower Ohio Valley with this setup. And zooming it in here, there will be pockets across especially portions of northern Mississippi, northwest Alabama then, and getting down into portions of central Louisiana and southeastern Texas near the Houston region, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, up here toward Jackson, Mississippi. We could start to see some problems as some of those areas could see isolated totals up to a foot of rain all the way through that Friday, January 26th time frame. And notice up here to the lower Ohio Valley, still seeing some very heavy rain on the order of about 1 to 3 inches. So some problems ahead, and the Weather Prediction Center agrees that there is a slight to a moderate risk for flash flooding potential across the lower Mississippi Valley here as we go through your Wednesday morning time frame. This covers eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and northwestern Louisiana with that moderate risk for flash flooding between the next 24 hours. And then that will shift east, and we still have a large slight to moderate risk for flash flooding from the Tennessee Valley down into the deep south, with that moderate risk from northern portions of Alabama through central Mississippi and down into central Louisiana there. So definitely watching out for that Wednesday into Thursday. What that means is if you have a slight risk for excessive rainfall, that means scattered flash floods will be possible. They're mainly localized, but they can definitely be significant in a spot or two. But now when you upgrade to a moderate risk of flash flooding, now you're talking about numerous flash floods likely, and this could be significant in more areas than one. So definitely something to keep an eye on going through this week. Now let's talk temperatures here. This afternoon, we see that freezing line shifting well up to the north into the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and New England. So definitely a nice sight to see, especially after our deep freeze over the past week or so. You can see further south from there, temperatures will be into the 40s, 50s, and 60s this afternoon. Going into late week, we warm even further. That freezing line will arrive into southeastern Canada by Friday. And you can see the 40-degree line shifts even further to the north into the Ohio Valley there and New England. So that snowpack that we see across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and interior New England will start to be melted as we go later on through this week and extending into the weekend. Yeah, more of those 30s and 40s out there. So that snowpack will begin to quickly melt going over the next few days. Now let's turn toward the very end of January and into February, because we are in for quite a wild ride ride. You can see as we go into Tuesday, January 30th, there's that high pressure system and that high pressure blocking across southern Canada and the northern United States, with a trough over here off the east coast and a trough entering in towards the west coast here across the United States. And you can see by the time we get to start February, next Thursday on February 1st, notice a very powerful high pressure system across southern and southeastern Canada. We have very good blocking here, and that means our low pressure systems and our storm track will begin to move into the west coast and dive further to the south into portions of the Four Corners regions and in towards Texas during that period later next week. But let's look at our temperatures, because this is something that is pretty uncommon for early February. This is from January 30th through that first week or so of February through that 5th time frame. The Climate Prediction Center is agreeing that we are going to be well above average with our temperatures across especially the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes. But look at mainly east of the Rockies, we're well above average with our temperatures out there. Starting to notice some signs that we could knock those temperature averages down below average across the West as we go toward that 5th time frame of February. Now let's peek into those temperatures, because we are in for a wild ride here, folks. Looking at our high temperatures a week from today, this is Tuesday, January 30th, and you can see that 40-degree line is all the way up here in toward the international border between Canada and the United States. 50s further to the south, and even a few 60s across portions of Texas Hill Country, the Southern Plains in general, and even across the deep south here next Tuesday. Looking at next Thursday morning, this is the start of February, and what a start it will be as you have those temperatures already in the morning time. Yes, the morning into the middle and upper 30s across the Midwest, 40s and 50s. Yes, we're waking up to a low temperature of 54 likely next Thursday in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 53 in Oklahoma City, and 45 all the way up here into the Kansas City region next Thursday morning. Look at these afternoon highs next Thursday to start off February. What a way to start it off there. Temperatures into the 40s all the way up there into central Canada. Yes, central Canada. And then we have those 50s and 60s further south. And yes, even some lower 70s will be possible across coastal Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, also southern Florida, with this setup later next week. So here's our ice and snow cover across North America. You see much of Canada here, Alaska seeing that snow cover, the northern tier of the United States here. We have that snow cover and across portions of the Ohio Valley on up through New England, and that is definitely what we see on the ground right now. But with those temperatures coming into early February, that snowpack will begin to melt very, very quickly and leave us with a bare ground yet again, just like we had in December. Now, looking at our precipitation outlook from January 30th through the 5th time frame, with that strong high pressure, you have very strong sinking air, probably lots of sunshine over here into the New England region, so below normal precipitation will be likely. And then looking here out west, yes, we have a strong ridge further east. That means a stronger trough, and a stronger storm system will likely result further to the west, first crashing into the west coast, then it will be diving to the east-southeast across the Four Corners region, and then starting to move across the southern U.S. toward Texas and the lower Mississippi Valley again towards that 5th of February. And you can see the result here. This is the European Extended Ensemble guidance taking you through the first full week of February. You can see very heavy precipitation crashing ashore the west coast there for Washington State, Oregon, California here, and even into Nevada. And then that will transfer east-southeast into the Four Corners region, and then eventually back across the lower Mississippi Valley. Would be our second round of some flooding rains after we get done with this round this week. So definitely watching that setup. And then looking at our snowfall, with such a big system potentially coming ashore, we could be seeing some very healthy snows across the ski resorts in the Rockies and the Sierras. Yes, the Sierras get some very heavy snows from this, likely a few feet of snow going through that first week there in February. And then into the second week in February, it gets even more interesting. We still have that high pressure blocking up here across portions of Canada, which means we're going to have that trough and that low pressure storm track starting to shift further south across the southern U.S. and then eventually up the East Coast during that February 7th and the February 14th time frame. And you can see that with our potential precipitation across the south and the southeast, and then working its way up through the mid-Atlantic coast and the northeast coast as we go into that second full week in February, taking you through the 14th. And if there's enough cold air in place, we could be seeing one of those nor'easter storm tracks where it brings some cold air down from Canada, and we potentially could be seeing some snowfall as we go into the second week there into some of these interior regions from Maine through Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York as we go into the second week in February. So we'll have to see how that works out. But there is even some potential that that could be further north into Canada. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go closer towards that time frame. Definitely a wild ride as we go over the next couple of weeks. We wanted to update you on that. So make sure to subscribe to the channel down below so you are updated on the weather forecast moving forward through the rest of 2024 and beyond. Also, make sure to like the video down below, especially if you like these detailed weather breakdowns across North America. We'll keep them coming. And also share this video with friends, family, and on social media. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Tuesday out there.